Good evening, everybody. Today is May 17th, 2021. Welcome to the Recreation Commission meeting. This is our first commission meeting since April 5th, 2021. So good evening. We're going to do a quick roll call. Please just say present. Kevin.
Present.
Mike.
Present.
Nancy Roberts.
Present.
Don LePage.
Present.
Dan Reynolds.
Present.
And I should clarify, Mike Gaudette.
Present.
Kevin McLaughlin.
Present again.
Thank you. And Tom K. And we also have filling in tonight for Donna Prather is Jordy Emanuel. So Jordy, thank you for joining us and filling in for Donna. Appreciate that. All right, now that we have roll call out of the way, do we have any guests in the audience, Jordy?
You're all set.
All right. So Nancy, thank you for getting the meeting minutes out for the April 5th
I'm
meeting.
hunting for the other one still.
Okay, well, we're going to quickly just peruse the April 5th and see if we can get an approval on this. So everybody had the minutes that Nancy sent out this afternoon?
Yes.
Yep.
Does anybody have any changes? Do I have anybody that wants to approve the minutes as written? Or make a motion to approve the minutes, I should say.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Anybody second?
A second.
All right. So a motion was thrown out there, Nancy, by Mike and seconded by Dan. Do we have any more discussion around the minutes from the April 5th, 2021 meeting of the Recreation Commission? If not, put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Actually, we'll do roll call because it's on Zoom. Kevin McLaughlin.
I'm abstaining. I was at the meeting.
Mike Gaudette.
Aye.
Nancy Roberts.
Aye.
Don LePage.
I have to abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
Dan Reynolds.
Aye.
All right. So we actually don't have enough to pass this at this time. So even if I vote yes, we still don't have enough to pass it. We need Aaron to be present to pass this. So I'm going to make a motion that we move this to the next meeting.
Second.
Any more discussion?
No.
All right. So all those in favor say aye. Kevin? Mike Gaudette?
Aye.
Nancy Roberts?
Aye.
Don LePage?
Aye.
Dan Reynolds?
Aye.
Tom K. I'm an aye also. All right. It passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-0. Okay. So Jordy, you're filling in for Donna in regards to the director's report. So please give us an update. I know there's a lot of things going on these days.
Well, good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to start by saying that today we got updated guidance from the state regarding youth sports. So our office has been very, very busy today. And regarding, basically everything that we've been restricted in doing, not only youth sports, but youth sports is a very big one since their guidance takes effect tomorrow. Their new mask mandate for active play says that players that are currently on the field engaging in active play outdoors do not have to wear a mask starting tomorrow. It doesn't really state clearly if this means coaches, spectators, referees. So that has to get further clarified by the health department. We did get updated camp guidance, and we also got updated mask guidance. And after May 29th, a lot of this guidance is going to be dropped and rescinded. So we're really just looking forward to the future to see best practices for all of our programs and talking with Amy and the health department to see the best possible way forward with everything. Unfortunately, we were not awarded the grant that we had applied for the time level, about $150,000 for mostly landscaping and replacement of certain amenities such as park benches and tables, but unfortunately, we were not awarded that grant. Our farmers market on Friday went extremely well. I just wanted to give a big shout out to Christine for all of the work that she's done, coordinating with the vendors, coordinating with musicians and social media, advertisements and campaigns. We saw a steady flow of customers, and we saw about 15 vendors sign up. So it was a great turnout, and we're just looking to expand. Our next one is going to be June 11th, and it'll be at Center. We're still accepting applications for June 11th, and closer to that date is when we'll be releasing more specific vendors and what products they're going to be selling. Spring sports is up and running and going extremely well. It's been kind of crazy with all of the COVID guidelines changing. Seems like every single day. But now we expect it to start slowing down. Now that everything is up and running, we've worked out the kinks, and we all think that it's moving in a great direction and at a great pace. And with this new guidance from the state, it doesn't really seem like much more is going to have to be changing. Football registration opened, I believe, last week. Signups 2 weeks ago. So signups are open and they're going pretty well. On Friday, there's going to be a drive-in movie that's going to be coordinated with us and the COA. It starts at about 8:15. The last movie that we had, we saw some unforeseen screen issues with wind and then technical issues with our DVD player. But Kevin, thank you again for coming and helping and donating that cord to us. Will definitely be put to good use this Friday night. So in this week, we're going to be showing up, and we have a good amount of people registered for that. Camp registrations are going to be opening once again for 50 additional campers a week, which will bring up the total to 160 allowed per week based on the governor's guidance. So we're looking to add people off the wait list tomorrow or Wednesday, and then put out some communication regarding more COVID specific plans in the near future. That goes for both camps and for the pool. On Saturday, we had a drive-in trivia night, which was hosted by Keith Allen Productions. He put on a lot of different events, including Jukebox Bingo, the couple of times that we had it. And it's going to be coordinating a couple of events this summer at both day camps. Other than that, that's all I have. If you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know.
Does anybody have any questions of Jordy? Okay.
Jordy, as you mentioned with the mask regulation, just in the world of baseball and the dugout at, say, Leahy, when can they start using that again? Do you let the coaches know when they can use that again?
We're going to try to put out a statement tomorrow morning. I have a couple
Okay.
of questions out to Donna Bowman and Amy Petrosky. That was one of them.
Okay.
But May 29th, it's difficult because tomorrow is when certain guidance starts. And then May 29th is when other guidance is supposed to start. So I'm not entirely sure when we're going to be allowed to, I don't know if it's just active play that everybody is going to be wearing no mask or not wearing a mask. And then on the bench, they still have to wear a mask. So we definitely have to iron stuff out, but it looks like May 29th, after that date or on that date, all of the state guidelines would be lifted and rescinded, and they would be issuing best practices for us to follow rather than restrictions and mandatory guidelines. So we'll put something out.
Okay.
Okay. So moving from the director's report, and Jordy, you're always busy doing a lot of things. In between grants and all the other things, my one question is in regards to Pine Knoll grant that was not received. Since we were backburnered for in the short term with Pine Knoll Playground, has that been put forward by Donna again to be on the town council?
I haven't talked to her about that because she left for vacation before we were notified. So I haven't been able to talk to her about that, but that is something that I wanted to discuss with her when she got back to Wednesday morning.
Because that was still approved by the CPC and just kind of like tabled by town council. So never even came up actually town council. So hopefully we can get that moving forward. Okay. With that said, Jordy, if you're done, we're going to move on to some of the assignments that we each do with our groups. So Mike, I'll start with you. How's everything going with your assignment with, I think, soccer, right?
Yeah, everything seems to be going smooth. We have a meeting next Monday to discuss tryouts that will be coming up for the fall. Other than that, I mean, everything seems to have transitioned pretty well, other than your typical, emails from Roots and telling parents to cool it on the sidelines and whatnot. But it seems like we're in a good space and just looking towards planning for next year.
Good. Good to hear. Kevin, Don, who's taking baseball?
It's kind of really been a universal thing, I'll be honest with you. At the last meeting I missed, they're looking forward to going outside. I know baseball has been going very well, as in games, no written concerns that I've heard. There are still some issues on fields. I know Leahy, the magnetic bases weren't put in the ground. The bases weren't, the magnet plates weren't put back in the ground. Little things, but all in all, Leahy looks great as a field. Vets around the corner looks great on the field. Softball field looks great. Heritage Park looks good. They're using the speaker system. We still have our going concerns with lights on the scoreboards because there's a handful out, but yet they're making do and they're enjoying using them. I was there a couple of times this weekend, and I know Don was there a couple of times this weekend, just all to make sure they're going well. They love the speaker system that the rec department has, but there is another functioning one, or actually two, in the Leahy dugout. One works, one doesn't. So there is plenty of broadcasting material. So seems like they're having fun and they're enjoying. I haven't heard of any concerns on the fields at all. Don, if you want to, other than a question about the masks in the dugouts, whether it's at Vets or Blackman or Leahy, can they use the dugouts yet? And not, but they've been staying outside of them. So.
Yeah, I got nothing really much to add to that. Kevin kind of covered everything. We just got to keep track of making sure the coaches and U10 keep up with the speaker, getting the speaker set up and stuff. So I don't know if we still have to have myself and Brennan kind of jumping on that and making sure, or if I got to notify Jordy whenever there's a game and making sure somebody from the office brings the speaker system over. Oh, you said there's a speaker system in Leahy that's working?
There's two of them in there. One that was upstairs, and then one of the coaches yesterday morning found another one downstairs, brought it up because Brendan was there about 11:45 instead of being 11:30, and he had it up and running, and it was working fine.
That's
even with a
something
wireless mic on it. I mean, it was pretty impressive.
That's one we can keep there?
Yeah, it has been there for a while now.
All right, great.
So I mean, it's just working it out. The bad thing is though, yesterday no one locked up the field after they were done at 4 o'clock.
Eh,
So softball had a game until about 5:30, 5:45, and the kids were running around playing with the coyote, and
eh.
so all the gates were wide open. So it's just a matter of reminding them we got to just lock up. There are monitors running around, but they can't be there right at the end of every game. So, but simple things. But all in all, they're having fun.
Yeah,
Yep.
good.
And they're chasing the geese.
Well, the coyotes are taking care of it. The kids are running around. So yeah, it's a double win. Double win.
It's a double win. Dan, you had a question.
Yeah. So how's everybody doing? So for baseball, I guess there's discussion about doing a team challenge the June 5th weekend. I think there's going to be an ELBA meeting soon. So I'm sure they'll go into more details with that. But I think pretty much the message is out there that Saturday, June 5th, there will be a team challenge for T-ball all the way up to the older age groups. And then today there was another discussion about possibly getting a bunch of baseballer kids into the July 4th parade. So I don't know with obviously everything's sort of changing in terms of COVID, but I think from the quick discussion that we had earlier this afternoon, it seems like there'll be a good amount of participants to walk in that parade. So that'll be kind of cool. But again, a lot of that I think it's still going to be, TBD. Joe Williams and that group really is, spearheading that. And the other thing too, for me at least, getting into those orange boxes, it's like I don't know, it's like trying to break into a pyramid or something. I cannot get into those things. So I need like an idiot's guide to crack those things open, but I just know the bases are left out specifically at like Meadowbrook. So I don't want to be just leaving those things out, for whatever. So maybe if somebody could meet me down there. I mean, all our games are on Saturdays there, and my practice is Tuesday night, but it'd be helpful to just be able to get into those things. And I know Donna had mentioned something about putting together like a tutorial on how to take care of the fields, manage them and manicure them properly. I think that would be beneficial. So, obviously weather has been really cooperative this year, but there's going to be times where, there's going to be a lot of standing water on those fields, and we don't want to damage the fields. And I know that discussion has been kind of going around. So that might be really helpful to have, some sort of document in place for that.
So with that said, I mean, you guys brought up baseball, and Jordy, I don't know if you're keeping record of who's what and where from the various sports associations. Do you have record of who's a 501c3 and who's not?
I personally don't, but I'm sure that Donna has.
Okay. So for the
Just knows
record,
a couple.
and speaking of 501c3s, I'm going to call back on you, Don. Where are we with ELF to move this whole entire thing forward?
It was still on hold. Last email I saw from Stacy. I don't know. We were waiting for something from the state. One more thing had to come in from the state for us to officially begin that. So I haven't heard. That was a couple weeks ago. So as of right now, we haven't kicked it off officially.
So I have heard from Jess that she did get her piece from the state.
Oh, she did get it?
Yeah. And she sent it off to the IRS. So that's the final piece that she's waiting for. Is
Okay.
the update that she kind of briefly gave me, but that was, I think, a little over a week and a half ago.
And as for baseball, they are 501c3 approved with everything. And I did speak to Joe about that, and I asked him, I'm not sure, but spoke with Mary regarding, do they have to register with the town as a 501c3 program? Do they not? Do you need anything from them, meaning the rec office? I guess once you have one, what do you do with it? Who do you have to let know? How does it operate in the town world?
So I think, Nancy, if you're taking down the notes on this is a very important question that,
Yeah, I did write down what Kevin just asked.
because we
Joe
have,
was going to reach out to Mary.
good, because we do have lacrosse, by the way, Don, everything going good with lacrosse?
Yeah, things are going fine with lacrosse. The boys are, oh, Dan's got more questions.
Sorry. Have coaches stepped up for the younger lax group? I know that there's an email that went around saying they were still looking for coaches.
I haven't heard that there's a problem with the younger group, so I'm assuming that they got something straightened out.
Because I know that they haven't started. This is for like the 7 and 8-year-old group.
Are the little laxers?
Little
Yeah.
Laxers, Gary Gray actually emailed Christine and said that he would be interested in taking on that program. But I could get more information from Christine tomorrow, Dan.
Okay, but there's no threat of the season being canceled or anything at this point. Okay.
No.
Okay.
As
And the
far as,
little-
as far as the girls go next year, I still need that, we should talk to Chris Jordan about next year's transition for the girls, because I know she was going to be bailing out, but she said she would stick around and help out through the transition. So I need to find somebody to take that over. And she mentioned she had a friend that maybe is interested in taking it over. So, but there is a shortage in women, the girls lacrosse coaching, and she was a little nervous about that before the beginning of the year, but I need to catch up on her about that.
And Nancy, starting
Marlins.
to get into outdoor swimming season.
Yes, they are going to practice at the high school pool until Pinole opens up. They're going to still do the COVID protocols they've been doing for the last 2 seasons until they get further guidance from the rec department. And I told Charles I would check that out when Donna get back to him.
So you don't have to wear a snorkel in the pool.
Or a mask while you're trying to swim. But I think it's how they enter and exit the pools.
Yeah.
The Western Mass summer swim season starts June 14th. They're not sure yet whether it's going to be a live versus a virtual season. And then the championship tentatively is, I believe it's July 24th.
And Jordy, that opens the question about when are we going to fill the pool?
Next week.
Perfect. Okay. From a football standpoint, they've addressed the cost of the programming. Donna, myself, and the board, they've decided to incorporate flag football and cheerleading as one with football moving forward. We will have live football, as you can see around town. You see the football is back signs.
Like
We will have live football starting in August. All right. And registrations are happening as we speak. And the SAFL will be a fully functional league. There is some talk about some leagues combining, like some teams, the smaller teams in the hills out towards Worcester might not be participating anymore. In regards to, that brings up a couple of housekeeping items, and then we're going to move to CPC. We've had some CPC meetings along the way. One, housekeeping. Just want to let you all know that there are 2 vacancies for our board. This was published on May 7th. There are 2 vacancies open for our board. And Don, did you file back?
I actually just replied back to Debbie today that I was interested in, reapplying, and then I'm going to be sending the form to her by the end of this week. And she said, great, I'll be looking forward to it.
Excellent. Let us know if you need any references.
You're there, Tom. You're on it.
Okay. So with that said, let us know. Okay.
Okay.
So there's 2 open vacancies. Next is some people ask me out and about, what does our commission do?
Okay.
All right. So what our commission does is provide guidance to the rec director regarding programming, long-range planning, use of parks, fields, facilities, and we review the recreation department budget. That's a handful, right? And that's right on what the recreation board does on the open vacancies. It's right off the town website. I just wanted to make sure that we all are on the same page because there's a lot of conversations going on about long-term planning, and recreation is a vital part of the long-range planning. So with that said, that brings up CPC, community preservation dollars, right? And what those dollars are for. They're for open space and recreation, housing, and historical. And we had a vote with CPC in regards to the track at the high school about the resurfacing of the track. The CPC, as a commission or committee, however we want to say it, voted to have that move forward to the town council for their vote as an undesignated non-recreation project. Okay. At the town council meeting, it was then put forward in front of and said, no, we don't want it undesignated. It should be recreation. In the town council meeting, I don't know, a month plus ago, right now, Jordy, I think it was that we were at that. I don't remember the exact date.
It was about a month.
Yeah. So with that said, everybody here on the call, we've discussed the recreation allocation in regards to the track. I just explained to you what our roles are as recreation board regarding planning, use of parks, fields, facilities, and our regarding programming and where we are long range. So we have to start to really think about what are our top 5, top 3 projects that we see viable as part of long range planning with recreation. And before everybody starts saying heritage, it's on there, okay? But we need to formalize what our long range plans are as recreation, working with the recreation department, because there's a lot of planning going on. Kevin, you were on that February 12th committee, right? And
Yep.
I'm hoping everybody here was able to fill out the Survey Monkey and was sent that Survey Monkey about long-term planning within the town. Was everybody able to complete that or even received it?
The one we just received? Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So Kevin, as I don't want to continue to keep on talking, can you give us an update of where we are with the long-term planning in regards to starting with that February 12th meeting that's launched a lot of these conversations?
I'll be honest with you, I was in that call. It was almost 2.5 or 3 hour call. We broke out into different groups. We discussed different topics, everything from environmental to roads to senior living to housing to rec to open space to everything. Since that's happened, they said they'd contact everybody and let them know that we're going into more discussion groups. I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard a word. But 3 weeks ago, I did get the Survey Monkey from them with 5 to 6 questions per category, which is what I mentioned to you, Tom. We all had great conversations. There are those that are more driven towards open space. There's more people driven towards the highways, needing more sidewalks, the schools needing more space. I'm not going to tell you where I was. I'm Heritage Park, lights on my field. I was where I was recreation, but there are everyone supported everything going on. I just have been asking people about the monkey survey that we got, and a lot of people didn't see it. A lot of people had no idea it was even out there yet.
I just got it in my email yesterday.
That would have been Saturday or Sunday. I think Tom actually forwarded it to you. Was it from Tom or was it from the town?
I don't know. I filled it out.
Yeah, I mentioned to Tom, and Tom did the right as our commission director leader, as the director. He forwarded it to everybody, but I don't think a lot of people in town really got it, or it wasn't accurate to get the survey correct. It feels like unless you were on a call, you didn't get it, which is a challenge to me. But yet there's a lot of good questions in it if you've taken it. Where to, what to, how to, percentages, what we think we should do, sidewalks to this, to that. So it's a good survey. It's a lot more work to be done. There's a lot of things that are going out there, but it's a matter of everyone doing it, being a part of it, and giving their 2 cents to what's going on. So thank you, Tom, for forwarding it to everybody. But I don't think everybody got it from the original send out.
I don't think so.
So, in us as a recreation commission, we should have our top 5 projects, a year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. And when people come forward to us, and yes, we have our long-term open space rec plan, but it should be matching with what we're trying to do, right? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's bonding capabilities with community preservation dollars, right? To where you can take $1 and make it $10 over a period of time. They're not so, and that's done through historical, that's done through housing, open space, and recreation. So coming back full circle to this, right? It is out there that we could and should vote on the track project. And the reason being that because the community preservation approved it as an undesignated item, right? It didn't go to a specific line bucket. It is now being proposed as a recreational item. Us as recreation, we don't have any say in regards to yes, no, is it going to happen? But when it was brought forward in front of the town council before, the town council made mention that there was no decision made or no anything put forward by recreation. All right. So I'm asking you as a group that we at least have this discussion that we've already had. We probably should have some decision based on this, just as a recreational board. And speaking of what our role and responsibility is our commission is provide guidance to the rec director regarding programming, long-range planning, use of parks, fields, facilities, and reviews the rec department budget with the recreation director. So as chair here, we should at least have a vote to represent recreation. So does anybody have any discussion or questions about the track project?
The track project is to bring the track to up to snuff for the school for competitive usage or for recreation usage. There's no clarification on that?
Well, with that, I mean, Jordy, you know our programming. Most of us know our programming. We have not had a recreational track program since the track was opened. Could we have one in the future? Possibly. We do not have a youth track team. But I'm
just thinking for open recreation, not even organized, just open functionality, walk, run, jog. That's what we're looking to bring the track up to snuff for, correct?
Well, no, the track already exists for that capability. I mean, there are still meets that go on there today. I mean, I was over there just on Friday, and there was a track meet going on against Minnechock for the high school. So
I believe Long Meadow asked to use our track, or was it our football field they asked to use?
I don't know that. So,
I'm just saying from a standpoint of how was it presented, since I never saw a presentation from them, meaning school department. Is it because they want to go the higher level track meet, the dual meet, the triangular meet, yeah, they're covered all day. If you're going to go to the next level, there's missing entities in the facility area that they would need to actually be able to commission those kind of events.
Well, you bring up a great point, Kevin. I mean, in order to hold MIAA events at that, we don't have the restroom facilities that are required to provide for MIA events at this point,
Just discussion. I mean,
considering all the other facilities that are around, right? So,
Tom, can I ask one question because you were there? Was this a one-time? So after CPC pays for the improvement or the repair now?
Nancy, I want to amend that statement, and it's because we're recorded, and I want people to.
Okay, I'm just asking for my question.
No, but I want to just go back to your question. CPC doesn't pay for it. It's a surcharge that's already in our tax budget.
Okay, using the CPC funds, is that better?
Yeah,
Is
please.
this a one-time? Did they put it in there that this was a one-time for repairs, and after that, if it had to be done again in 7 years, funding would have to be found elsewhere?
That was proposed, but once it went from undesignated to recreation, Stuart Stagnor and the CPC guidance that we received, it has to go back to CPC to be rebranded as recreation, right? I represent recreation
Okay,
at CPC.
so right now it's all in limbo until it goes back to be branded recreation instead of
Correct.
non-designated?
Yes.
Thank you.
But as the representative of recreation, the reason why I abstained from it being a vote as recreation was the fact that I didn't get any guidance from my own board. And I'm not going to vote in the name of recreation when I'm a representative of recreation. So I'm asking this group, whether it's yay or nay, come up with a decision. If the track resurfacing project falls in line with an important project in the short term for recreation.
education, I think, is everything. Presentation is everything. You're presenting it to us, Tom, and I thank you. Those that are asking for the funds from the board that you represent us on have never directly asked us or presented to us. I used to run track. I know what a track costs. I know what a track means. I know it's something that's very valuable, but you know what? It falls apart. But there's a way of doing things. They have never asked us or came to us to present us what they're looking to do. We walked ourselves. We've had experts from other schools, not experts, but in the know, that have walked and said it's right now in a good spot. If it goes another year, could it fall apart? I will say, because the funds are there, and myself personally, I would support that we actually give them the money, but from the terms that it was presented to the commission or myself, never was. But knowing that from my inside information, I support it because of that'd be a waste of time from years past that we invested. So I support it.
And to further the conversation here, I had mentioned bonding and the availability of, so my personal preferences, I'm okay with the resurfacing of that track project, but I would like to see it done in a comprehensive approach to improve that facility with restrooms that can be funded by community preservation dollars with a standing restroom. And there's been a lot of talk back and forth, but it's been confirmed that restrooms will provide and can be used by CPC, which then would be used by the concert, will be used by youth sports, used by the high school, and used by the community at large instead of the Sandy cans. Dan.
So has there been an assessment on sort of the cost to put together, like bathrooms there, to put up a concrete sort of structure, something as small as what you would see at a beach or something, where
Exactly what
it's
you're
nothing.
talking about. Exactly what it
Right.
is. You're in the tune of $400,000-500,000 with prevailing wages. Okay. Um, I know Gordon's, kicked it around a little bit. Yeah, that's the superintendent of schools. I'm saying Gordon Smith. But this is why it's so important that we sit down and have an actual plan that coincides with the overall larger picture. Right? We do have youth sports that and community involvement that touch that athletic complex, but we only have so many dollars in a budget. And how do you best utilize those dollars? For example, I think only Nancy was on this board when we did the pool project. Right, the pool at Pine Knoll is a bonded out project that will be paid off, I think, in 2030. All right, Brown property is a bonded out project that's paid off in 2028. I might be flipped on the number of 2028 or 30, but those are two open space and recreation projects that were funded through CPC dollars, and they were bonded. They were able to get a larger bite of the apple at one time. So my personal preference as just a member here, just educating you guys about CPC, recreation plays a large part in CPC. Also, you should know that we had pickleball, the Pickleball Association, come forward, and Jordy, you can speak to this too. How pickleball came forward to ask for CPC dollars for nets, about $1,200. All right. It's a potential Pandora's box that's being opened, because that's equipment, not standalone, like a building, not a building, but like the snack shack, or you can't use equipment dollars for community preservation. The shelf life on that, it can't be like, depreciated, for example, right? If you had some type of piece of real estate that could be depreciated out, like Brown property or the pool, those are hard objects. You can't use CPC dollars for equipment. So I just want to let everybody know what's going on in regards to CPC, because recreation is a vital piece of what's going on there. So, with that said, we talked about the track. We talked about pickleball nets, which, by the way, are not allowed for CPC dollars. And by the way, this has been an education process of bringing in the CPC experts from the state. And there's still this question of whether around the track is still maintenance and whether or not that's available for community preservation dollars. Another point I want to bring up, Heritage and Heritage Park. We have the memorial, for the Veterans Memorial that you see funded outside of the Recreation Senior Center. That's a kind of project that could actually, if it's put on Heritage Park, that could be funded with community preservation dollars. But because it's sitting on the senior center, which is a municipal property, they could not use community preservation dollars for that memorial. Just giving everybody an education on CPC. For example, Kevin, the lights that you'd like to see at center fields, those could be used with community preservation dollars. Now, your recent quote for $700 and some odd thousand, okay, could be bonded out. You don't have to spend 720 out of the gate. And bonding is very favorable today. And our rating as a town is very favorable. So being aware and being out in the community with your various sports organizations that you work with, or various entities that you're out and about with, knowing how recreation has a role in community preservation is important. So, do I have anybody who wants to put forward a vote?
Can you just clarify one thing for me right now?
Please.
Because it went to town council.
Yes.
They wanted to take away the non-designated and make it recreational.
The Ralph Page made the proposal to move it from undesignated to recreation.
Now, does it have to go back to the Community Preservation Committee before
Yes.
they can vote on it again?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you.
And thus, I'm here with our town recreation board to see if we have an opinion in regards to the track resurfacing project for $134,000 at the high school athletic facility.
So at the is the bonding a discretion of those applying, or is the bonding a discretion of the CPC as discussion?
When it gets to that bonding process,
Yes.
it goes to the town council,
Okay.
and then you don't want to bond a small project like a track. And when I mean small, I mean anything that's less than $500,000, right? Because the cost of acquiring the bond and going out and trying to facilitate the bonding with the wirehouse and everything that you have to work with, you're talking probably $30,000 just in bonding expenses.
Yep.
Right. So myself as
Tom,
Tom,
does somebody have a breakdown of this whole thing? I mean, when we tried to do Heritage Park, they wanted a line item, 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 line item of everything that was going on. Is there something that we can look at that has all these line items before
well,
somebody?
I sent to the group back November the entire project. There is no specific line item like we did. It's the cost of the project. They're using Gale Associates as their one recommending firm as to what the cost is. There are no three bids. There are no, it's only Gale Associates. I will say the school department is putting up, I want to say $28,000 off the top of my head. I don't have the proposal right here in front of me, but I've read it a bunch of times. The total cost is about 160 some odd $1,000, and they're asking for 134 and change.
Oh, has there been any, this money's being used just because or they're asking for this money just because it's due to be fixed because of the time frame, or have other schools complained about our track as they're performing meets on it or anything like that there's no trip hazards or?
I can only comment that there was a meet this past Friday on it, and there's been meetings all season for outdoor track events. So I don't know if there's complaints lodged or not. They can still hold MIAA high school events.
If I remember our discussion, there were some cracks forming. There are some bumps forming that if they keep forming and keep going the way they are, that'd be a lot more costly to repair almost a total track, where now it's a resurfacing more so than a whole new track.
To that point, Kevin, it was brought up, the resurfacing is about 160. The cost of the entire new track is about 200 and some odd $1,000. So there was some question by the town council as to, okay, we can resurface it for now or replace it later. What is the shelf life do we currently have with that current existing track? So, Don, good questions, but my 2 cents, the reason why I'm going through this methodically with everybody is just so you have a better understanding of community preservation dollars, because there is some misinformation out there that is kind of like a recreational piggy bank. And you know, go to CPC for that, right? And I mentioned the pickleball. It's not their fault. It's not anybody's fault. But when they needed money for nets for pickleball, they came to CPC. And Jordy, they did come to recreation. Am I correct?
I know that Donna was working with them, but I'm not sure to what capacity.
So, I
I
also
know,
have,
I know in support of your CPC, I know the cemeteries up on Calendar Ave, they've restored headstones up there in my South Perth, so I know it's not just recreation. No one,
No.
I don't know if anyone knows that, but 25, 30 of the 1800 stones, 1800 circa stones were refaced, redone in honor of those that are in there. So
Yep.
if anyone didn't know that, that's not listening, that it is definitely used out there, and I know that for a fact. Never mind the
Yep,
history.
and actually, from a historical perspective, we did the microfiche in saving some of the town documents that were stored in the basement using historical funds through community preservation. Tony Zampacini did a great job in regards to the headstones and making sure we, and by the way, with those headstones through that project, we did get 3 quotes. We got it from an expert. You know, we did our due diligence. I would also say historical did the town fire truck. Hopefully we get to see it at the 4th of July parade, the old school fire truck. That was of CPC funding to bring that up to par. So
you raise a good question, I guess. So there's multiple quotes. Like, can there be additional quotes to do the track, or is that sort of locked in?
well,
Is it
there should be multiple quotes that come with this.
right? And then my other question would be, are those funds, can they be better allocated for a different project, or is it something that is, I'm not, you know, how do the funds get sort of distributed, or is it just basically on a need basis?
Well, what's been happening over the course of the last few years is, though there's a few people in the know that utilize and are aware of the funding projects, okay? And I think our goal as community preservation is to get that word out to more people within the town, all right? But from our sense of boards, having a longer term plan with what we want to do with fields, facilities, and our projects, that's like CPC says, well, does this fit into the long-term recreation plan? Does this fit in as a need for recreation? Right. And that's where we come and work with Donna and Jordy, and we figure out, because we're one piece of the community preservation dollars.
So if the rec commission says we bless this and say, hey, go ahead with it, then it has to go through some additional approvals.
It always does. So like, generally you're going to involve planning. Like, for example, if we did heritage, we as the rec commission saw heritage as a vital piece of our long-term plan. Am I correct in saying that? All right. It went in front of CPC. All right. We talked with planning. We talked with different groups. We talked with other department heads across the spectrum. All right. It went through a process. Now, if we are going to incorporate school land, which, by the way, Heritage has some of that wetlands behind the playground. Some of that is school department land, which is owned by the town. But when we did the Heritage project, we did talk with the school department. So it's a collaborative effort, everybody, is what I'm trying to get at. All right. And we just have to, if we're going to have a voice in the long-term plan, and how recreation's incorporated in that, we need to have our own plan. All right. We have it and we talk about it all the time, but we have not formalized that beyond our heritage park plan. So do I have anybody who wants to put forward a motion in regards to the track project?
I make a motion to support the CPC request for funding for the East Long Meadow High School track at the dollar figure of, I don't know off the top of my head, but I do support the fund or
Okay.
request for funds to redo or resurface the track at the high school.
Excellent. So we have that motion on the floor. Does anybody second that motion?
Kevin, it shouldn't say support the high schools, the school department's request of CPC funds?
I guess yeah, I mean, they're the one doing the requesting through the CPC, so I guess, yes, it would be, make a motion to, yes, yeah, through the high school, yes. The school committee, I'm sorry, not necessarily the high school, the school
School
committee.
No, it was put forward by Gordon Smith in the
So
school.
it would be school department, okay. And it would be repair or refurbishing or resurfacing? How do you want it?
Resurfacing.
Resurface.
Thank you.
How's the motion read?
We support the school department's request for CPC funding for the the resurfacing of the East Long Meadow track.
Using designated as recreation, right?
Yes.
You want that designated as recreational?
It's up to you
Yes.
guys.
Okay.
Okay, so that's on the floor from Kevin. We need somebody to second that to bring it more forward.
Second the notion.
All right. So Don has seconded the motion brought forward by Kevin. Any more discussion about this project? Okay. Okay, if not, I'm going to open it up for roll call. All those in favor, I'm just gonna call out your name, say yay or nay. Nancy Roberts,
Nay.
Dan Reynolds.
Yay.
What was that, Dan?
Yay.
Yay. It was like a 50-50 there. Mike, got it?
Very undecided on this. I have to say nay.
Kevin,
Yay.
Don,
Nay.
and I am also a nay. So Nancy, that is
4 nay and 4 no and 2 yes.
okay. I'm going to put a motion forward that I propose that to do the track resurfacing, I would like to see it combined with the restroom facilities to use CPC dollars for a bonding project where we could have restroom facilities and the resurfacing of the track all as one.
I'll second that.
Who seconded that?
Me.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Any more discussion about what I just proposed? So I'll just clarify. I'm saying resurface the track and do restroom facilities
as one project.
as a recreational project for the athletic complex, for the town of East Long Meadow Athletic Complex.
I mean,
It's
do we
not
need
the
to,
high school field. It is the town's field.
do we need to get into specifics, like ask for some kind of presentation or line items, or is that's
No, not at this time. This is just
Okay.
our,
Were they aware they can get that as a bonded group of items, or is this just something that has never been presented to them, or they're not aware or not educated to what they can use? Are you,
to be blunt, Kevin, I put it forward probably back in January that it could be a multiple project. There was some discussion about it, but it's been formalized multiple times now by the community preservation in the state, and there is track record of other towns utilizing community preservation dollars to fund restrooms at their athletic facilities with a snack shack. You cannot have an office located, like we couldn't put the recreation office in there, but we could have 2 restrooms with a snack shack.
would you be able to put a training room in it?
No.
I'm just thinking outside the next conversation, on site, if you're doing these kind of events, a training room in there, be a great entity, but CPC would not allow that kind of
You,
funding.
you can't put like you mean like like an athletic trainer's office in there, or
Temporary use
like a
office.
weight room?
No, a temporary use bench with tape or something like that, as in first responder to an event on the field type thing. Not a long-term office.
No, it can't. It just can't be a long-term office.
Yeah, okay. So you could then, okay.
You can't put like weights in it. You can't.
Correct.
You can't build a gymnasium.
I'm
Like
just
for
thinking
example,
tape an ankle or to evaluate someone who got hurt or something like that on a day of a game day event.
first aid kind of
Like a
place?
first aid
room?
station.
Yeah, similar on that line.
yes.
Okay.
So
Has that been seconded?
yes, by Mike.
Okay.
Any more discussion about this proposal? And Nancy, I really specifically want it to be stated the East Long Meadow Athletic Complex,
Complex.
please. All right, it's out there for a vote, so I'm going to do a roll call if there's no more discussion. Nancy Roberts,
Yeah, yes.
Dan Reynolds,
Yes.
Mike Gaudette.
Yes.
Kevin McLaughlin,
Yes.
Don LePage,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. So that passes unanimously. Jordy, how much do we contribute for Sandy cans at the athletic complex per year?
I don't have a figure off the top of my head. I would have to check. Jamie and Donna did the ordering this year for them.
So it's part of the budget. So it's about 18,000 if I'm correct.
I don't even have a ballpark for because it's split up into the different.
Yes, split up into the different.
That's
Just for
something that we
Sandy
could get
can.
a number, but I don't have that right now.
Yeah. But I just want us to all think long term. Think of the cost savings across the long term. Just in that facility alone. Right. So thank you very much, everybody, for putting that forward. I know we're getting longer into the evening. That's a lot of information, but it's necessary. So I'm going to ask Don, since you're running with East Long Meadow Foundation, the ELF, okay?
Yes.
and we're incorporating that one as a 501c3. I'm going to ask as chair, you and Kevin, since Kevin's participating in the long-term planning project, that for our next meeting, we have at least 5 items that we see as a 1, 3, 5, and 10-year projects. For recreation.
Okay.
And we'll at least get the ball rolling for conversation purposes. Any other new business anybody wants to put forward? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have so something came up over the weekend regarding the baseball fields at the high school and all the activities down there, and tennis, and I guess foul balls were the issue. I think it had already come up with the school committee, but what it might be worth doing sort of a deep dive on how much it would cost to put up a safety netting type of thing over home plate on that baseball field.
Okay.
I saw a few balls get launched out of there that if they hit a kid or somebody, it would have been bad. So
Dan, you bring up a great point. Okay. This is where collaboratively as a group, you have a booster club at the high school for baseball. Am I still right about that, Kevin? Or is that still?
I'm not a part of it anymore, but there is some kind of organization still there. Yes.
You have a defunct 501c3 for tennis. All right. So we still have a tennis association, but they don't know what they're going to do with their 501c3. We have a youth baseball association that's now a 501c3. Right. This comes to the conversation of whose responsibility is this equipment? And if you're you're a non-town entity, you're your own 501c3, whose responsibility is it? And Nancy, go ahead.
If there's foul balls coming from baseball
Okay.
field, wouldn't that be the varsity field, Kevin?
Yeah. They'd be off the varsity field that they're coming off of.
And
So that'd be a school entity.
yeah, because they don't let us use the varsity field for recreation, right?
At this point in time, no. I mean, during the summer, you might after June when their season's over, but their high school baseball is coming off the field at this point in time, foul balls, which has been ongoing since I've been affiliated with baseball.
It's
There
been
has been
going
less
on for
tennis,
years.
but
and Sundays it was a 30 and over baseball league, so they
Right.
really don't even fall under a specific grouping.
that's a rental property that the
Yeah,
school's
that's
using
true.
then probably, that the school rents out the property at the high school, I would assume, correct?
Yes, they're renting out to the league. Yeah.
So Nancy, this is a question that we need to bring forward to the town manager and also to Recreation Director Donna Prather. And Jordy, hopefully when she comes back, we can address this. But this is a collaborative conversation, not like, oh, that's them. But how can we fix the problem?
Protect everybody.
And I guess there was a ruling put in place so that those back 3 tennis courts weren't supposed to be used. But even if people aren't in there, I mean, you could just be walking around by that area and have foul ball, come in your direction. And I think it's just it's asking for trouble.
Yeah. I don't
Being
know.
a baseball guy, if you go by Agawam, they redid all their fields and they have some phenomenal, and wasn't cheap, I presume, but they have netting around every one of their fields now, like probably 30, 40 feet that protect anything from almost anything from coming off those fields.
Right.
It's something we need, but it costs money. So
Maybe we add a little bit of height to the caging through the, how like lacrosse has that netting on the backfield.
Yep.
To protect the cars, on the way to the JV baseball field.
yeah,
Maybe we can add to the poles and go up on the netting there. That might be a more viable option, just from a pricing standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, these go down in Agawam, foul lines left and right,
Oh,
all
yeah.
the way down. I mean, they're impressive.
We're talking some big buckaroos.
8 to 10 inch pipes with a lot of, there's a lot of stability there, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, Dan, good point. But I mean, once again, we have so many different factions going on. Let's collaboratively try to improve the process. One last thing, Jordy. My bit of new business. Who is?
Ringing.
My wife's wondering where the hell I am. Who is coming to you for the rental of the softball fields?
For this summer or for now?
For right now, the Sunday and Saturday leagues that are happening here.
I think it's Tri-Town. They
Softball.
went to Donna. Yes, they went to Donna, and she worked out an agreement with them for a rental for the softball field. I'm almost 100% positive that's Tri-Town softball.
And is Mass Mutual's coming back to the center field?
We haven't heard anything from Mass Mutual. I haven't heard anything, at least. Jess is handling all the facility requests. But I haven't heard anything about Mass Mutual, no.
Because they're not back in office, right? Everyone's still remote at Mass Mutual.
Still remote.
So I wonder if they're not going to have a league because of potential.
Yeah. All right. So I did see people out at Maple Shade. I just wondered because we had stopped doing the Sunday softball program with Frank.
They were in the center all day from about 12 until about 6 o'clock at night too.
Yeah.
So I mean, the center field has been very busy, which is great to have activity. But
That's great. All right. So we do have legitimacy to the rentals. Thank you.
Yep.
Good.
speaking of rental, I was approached by the class of 2022 asking about, after seeing our drive-in movie theater, asking if they could rent our screen. And the FM transmitter that we had for an event they want to do possibly next week. Is that something we'd entertain?
I have to get permission about the FM transmitter.
I know that wasn't ours. Yep.
DOA. But I'm sure Alicia would allow it.
Yep.
So it would just be figuring out a good plan for the screen for them. Do you know when they wanted to do it?
They actually been talking about a date already. They're going to rent the 26th of this month.
Who's
So it's
gonna,
quick turn. Don't get me wrong. I got hit with it today.
who is the supervisor?
I'm not 100% sure. It was a couple of the students that approached me, so I'd have to dig in deeper. But since it was a great opportunity to bring it up in a conversation here, since we have the screen now, it's a monster.
Hey, I'm of the personal belief it's recreation. It
Yep.
should be used for recreational activities.
If we can, as a group.
The more the merrier. I just want somebody responsible.
Oh yeah, agreed. I figured I'd probably have to be there with it, but that's okay.
I mean, we were gonna let Don Mackey use it. So
Maybe he could be a part of the event if there's a high school class that wants to do it. I'm not sure what
they ended up getting their own.
Okay.
I think the high school actually purchased one, but that's not. I really didn't talk to Don too much about it. He just told me that Frank at the high school had one. So That's all I know. I don't know if it was recently purchased or if it was already purchased and it's been sitting there. But I know that they used that for their event, which was at the end of April, I believe.
All right.
But he's asked me to use it already, and I don't mind allowing people to use it as long as, it's for the community, but it's handled responsibly.
I just thought I'd throw out the group in front of everybody here, ask the question. Obviously, more information necessary, but it's a quick turnaround. So I just want to make sure we open the conversation. If it's doable, yes, but what do we need to have it so it's actually done correctly? Okay.
All right. If there's, I don't think we have to vote on that. I think that's just a community project or community thing that we have available. So with that said, if there's no more new business or discussion of old business, I appreciate everybody's time tonight. We've been a solid hour and 20 minutes. But Kevin, Don, I look forward to our next meeting. Nancy, our next meeting is going to be,
I believe, are we going the first Monday?
yes.
I believe it's June 7th. Let me double check. I was just pulling up my calendar.
Thought it was, and I'm hoping that we can meet in person.
That'd be nice.
Jordy, what's the ruling on town facilities at this point?
The town manager sent out a reopening timeline. So June 28th was originally the scheduled date, but at this point, since the governor just announced something today, I don't really know, because I know that it will change, I think, but I haven't heard anything. I also haven't heard anything about how the town council is going to be conducting their meetings. But I'll let me or Donna will let everybody know once the town manager sends something out.
I mean, couldn't we even sit outside, spaced out? Doesn't get dark until 8 o'clock.
Not on town property though.
Good point.
Well, it is June 7th.
So let me understand this right. We can have parents at a ball game at center field, but the 9 of us can't meet at center field. I'm just,
Yeah, no, we just have to wait for Mary to give her
What about
approval.
those great picnic tables in our parking lot at Leahy Field?
Plenty of room there.
I think I can pick up Wi-Fi from Shelburne Falls. All right. So with that said, everybody, I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn for the night because I can see Don
Second
getting
that.
ready for the Bruins game.
Second that.
All those in favor, Nancy Roberts,
Aye.
Kevin McLaughlin,
Aye.
Don LePage.
All right.
Bye, Don.
Yeah.
Dan Reynolds,
Aye.
Mike Gaudette.
Pleasure,
Tom.
everybody.
June 7th is our next meeting time, 6 p.m. Everybody,
Location to be announced.
to be determined.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
not the same damn Zoom channel.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Have a
Bye.
good week.